Hello and welcome. So in this mini lecture, we're going to be talking about the earth element. So the earth element in many of the old diagrams was actually positioned in the middle with the 4 elements around it. But more commonly we see these days where the 5 elements are equally spaced apart. So that's just to give you an idea of how important and how central the earth element is in potentially the human experience. So the earth element, the organs connected, associated with earth element are the stomach and the spleen. And when I say the spleen, what I'm really talking about is the pancreatic function of the body. So it's kind of like we're talking in systems rather than sort of isolation so much. So we're talking about the stomach and the spleen, or the pancreatic function. So if I was to give you 2 characters to help you sort of get a clearer picture of the function of these organs and the function of the earth element, we'd be talking about a builder, so a big guy with big muscles, big legs, hard worker, and that would be the connection to the spleen. The next one would be a farmer. A farmer is hard worker, outdoors, and intensely engaged in food production. So that would be the stomach. So the farmer is connected to the stomach, obviously, because it's really associated with food, starting the process of food, and is an expert in food, really. And the spleen is more like a builder. And it's a builder because it's believed in Chinese medicine that the pancreatic function starts to pull away all the good stuff out of the food and then starts sending it to the muscles where it can be used. So there's the connection, is that the spleen, if the spleen is healthy, the stomach and spleen is healthy, generally the person will have good muscular tone in their bodies. They will have good and big muscles as well. So if the stomach and spleen is out, generally they will have no muscle tone definition whatsoever, and they could either be really, really big and flabby and overweight, or on the other spectrum, they could be super skinny and have no muscles whatsoever. So both of those scenarios is a sign of a stomach and spleen that's a bit out of balance. Okay, so more about earth element. So earth element is, the color of it is yellow, and it's very much connected to a sense of community as well. So being able to connect with others, being generous with others, sharing food with others. It's kind of like hanging around, eating and being merry. It's a very sort of grounding, very sort of earthy kind of quality. On the mental level, the earth and the stomach spleen is connected very much to clarity of thought, cognitive thinking, and also focus. So a person with good stomach spleen, earth element, when you sort of talk to them, they're very present and very almost intense. Maybe not too intense, because that could be imbalance. But they're just really present, and you get that feeling that that person is really solid and very, very aware. So that's a sign of a good earth element, a good mental function. An expression of an imbalanced mental function on this element is someone who's really, really scattered, really, really disembodied, so out of their body, flipping around. So very much connected to potentially ADHD or ADD type symptoms. Very flighty, very ungrounded, and things like that. Often I see people that are engaged in very mentally intense jobs, such as academics and scientists and stuff like this. They can easily go out of balance with their stomach element or with their earth element because they can overdo it. You know, they become so intense with their minds. They're focusing maybe 10, 12 hours a day, and that can actually turn around and start harming their digestion. And it can go the other way as well. You can eat terrible food or do something that doesn't quite agree with your stomach spleen, and it can start making your head foggy, making it really hard to think. And I'm sure we've all experienced that in some way. So another expression of a healthy earth element, healthy stomach spleen, is that you can pretty much handle most foods without having a poor reaction. So you've got big muscles, good strong muscle body, and you can handle most food in your guts. It doesn't throw you off. And the other thing is that you get energized from eating food. And you're very intense and very present and very grounded. So that's a good sign of a good, healthy earth element. So an unhealthy earth element is someone who's very flighty, unable to concentrate, ungrounded, no muscle tone, is easily affected by food. So they might be allergic to this, allergic to that. They can't eat this, they can't eat that, they've got allergies, etc. that's a sign that the earth element, or the stomach spleen, just doesn't have enough power in it to be able to deal with all the different variety of food coming in. The other connection here is that the stomach and spleen is really into the taste of sweetness. So it's whenever you get those sweet cravings for chocolate and stuff like that, it's the stomach and spleen kind of craving out for something, some goodness. Usually fruit is the best option for in that kind of scenario, because processed sugars are just, because they're kind of a new thing on the block, the stomach and spleen just doesn't know how to deal with it. And so probably the most common sign and symptom of a stomach-spleen imbalance in the Western world is diabetes. So you can see that the earth element is really out of whack for most people in the West especially. And it's really coming down because we overthink, we're too intense on our little computer devices, and we're not physical enough. So we drain our stomach-spleen function by overthinking, over-worrying. We eat too many foods with too many sugars in them. And we don't exercise the body, we don't activate the muscle tone, and so we become very lack of muscle definition, and we become very flighty in the mind as well. So all these things can harm or support our digestion and or support our earth element. So that's about it for the earth element. I hope that's provided a bit of clarity for understanding a little bit more about the connections to the earth element and the connections to the stomach and spleen function. After this lecture, I've got a handout for you, just reiterating and summarizing the points that I've already spoken about, and probably adding a few extra points as well. All right, so in the next video, we're going to be talking about the metal element. Thank you.